All right, let's go to single view too. Great. Welcome back, man. What's going on? We're glad you're here. And we're just seeing Jesse.
What did you want to see?
Go to speaker view, but there we go. Full screen. What's gonna be recording? There we go. Spotlight. Whoa, why aren't we showing up?
That's what I'd like to know. Stop video.
Pin? That did it? No.
How's Jesse logged in? Is he logged into the same?
No, he's not. He's logged in his own. I don't know why we're not the one dominating.
We don't know. Like so?
Well, there you go. That worked. I don't know what happened, but this must be recording us. That's what we want. Okay. Welcome back, man.
I have the record button on my end. Am I glitching it up for you guys?
I don't know. We didn't think you were logged in, but we're both logged in.
Well, as far as I know, I was logged into my own personal account, so that doesn't make sense.
It's all good. We got it fixed now.
I think we got
it. All right, awesome. Carry on, guys.
Guess what? This is Epic Leadership, Men's Leadership Call. I have to look at it, remember what we call ourselves. Epic Men's Leadership. We do. We are epic men. And I happen to be in Texas with Troyer Websites of Texas, Mr. Eric Schleybaugh, some of our legacy leadership here in Texas. Yeah, we're doing some fun business stuff, talking about business and talking about Epic. We're here live. But anyways, always a good time to come together and read this book. We've been reading The Winding Road to Excellence for like 3 years now. It is slow going because I got a lot to say all the time. If you guys didn't notice. So the way we've been doing it, we just thought, why not try it? Because it gives us good content to talk about, good discussions. Eric reads a little bit, and then I commentate. If you guys got a better way, we'll do it your way now. That's what the book told me to say. Let's do it your way. No, but I mean that because we are excited about men coming together, collaborating, working together. And we love doing business together. We love working together, helping each other succeed. So whatever it takes to do that, we're willing to do it. We just like reading books together. Gives us good content to talk about. Because, yeah, a lot of times men don't ask very many questions and don't talk very often. So this helps to get us talking. So here we go. Eric's going to read.
You ready?
Welcome back. What page are we on?
We are on page 70 of Being Right is Overrated.
There we go.
All right. Let's see, make sure this is right. The areas in life and in business in which we can truly be an expert get narrower. Shouldn't that be more narrow?
Probably.
Narrower every day. There's so much science, so much technology, so much math, so much design, and so much intelligence in every discipline that we can only be truly expert in a few things. Couple that reality with the fact that we're all trying to do so much these days that it feels like we're trying to cram 10 pounds of potatoes into a 5-pound sack. So we have to rely on subject matter experts to distill information for us and guide us towards educated decisions because we can't know it all. And even those who are the very best at what they do can't do it all. And then the side note is it doesn't matter if you're right or if I'm right. Let's just get it right. BMW Manufacturing operates a vehicle assembly plant halfway between Greenville and Spartanburg, South Carolina. Every X-Series sports activity vehicle that BMW produces for worldwide consumption is assembled in that facility. Notice that I said assembled, even though the owner and operator of the plant is BMW Manufacturing. The reality is that BMW doesn't fully manufacture the ultimate driving machine. They assemble it. BMW manufactures some of the best auto bodies and engines in the world, but that is the extent of the primary components that BMW actually manufactures for its line of X-Series vehicles. From there, they turn to the expertise of others, like ZF for transmissions, Draxelmare for interior systems, Bilstein for shock absorbers, Michelin for tires, and Harman Kardon for sound systems. Seen this way, BMW is actually a design, systems integration, testing, assembly, marketing, sales, distribution, and service organization, not just a vehicle manufacturing company. Like or unlike BMW, you may or may not outsource entire components of your business the way a modern automobile manufacturer does, but you had better learn when to secure and incorporate the knowledge and expertise of others if you want to produce consistently stellar results. When you draw upon the experience and expertise of a diverse, capable, dedicated group around you, the more you and all your team feel valued and motivated. When team members' ideas are heard and implemented, they take pride in their work. They see the enterprise as an extension of themselves. To excel in an organization needs leaders who inspire others to extraordinary performance. If we inspire others only to match the level of performance that is widely accepted as the gold standard in our market space, we will never extend the current standard of excellence. We do not want to simply compete in the markets that we serve. We want to surpete, to quote Dr. Edward de Bono, the author of Surpetition. In other words, we must surpass the performance of our peers, becoming not only thought leaders, but also executional and operational leaders. Only then can we optimize our performance. And then the sidebar, to excel, an organization needs leaders who inspire others to extraordinary performance. Last chapter next chapter, once we set our standards to the highest levels achievable, we begin to recognize subtler realities such as you can do the right thing in the wrong way or at the wrong time, and it can be worse than doing nothing at all. Objectives shift, priorities change, unexpected challenges arise. Ultimately, what is right is the thing that produces tangible results in the right way. Wrong means do not justify the right result. Wrong means do not justify the right result. Accepting the premise that being right is overrated requires humility. Next, we'll explore why being humble is essential for anyone focused on getting results and drawing the best performance out of those around them. End of chapter.
All right. So that's the end of chapter 6. We're going to be going in chapter 7 now. And interesting close out of that chapter. And one of the things that it talked about that I grabbed a note on is sifting and sorting information. How really complex that is these days. I'll tell you, I go through it all the time. And what I've learned to do, and this is what I recommend to you leaders, you men out there, is to find someone who has what you want and kind of let them sift through it for you. Because there's a lot out there. That is one thing. You will end up kind of like in a pile of information if you just go searching. Like, what do they call it when you get down a rabbit hole? You search a certain topic out on search engine on Google or something. You Google it, and then it's like 10,000 million, 20 billion links to go look at. And you're like, what do I go through? So it is real. These days, it's like being able to sift and sort all the vast data and information out there is what matters and what makes a difference. So I think that old thing that says find someone who has what you want and do what they do is super valuable even to this day and age, because a lot of times they've already sifted and sorted and found the information and the data that allowed them to get the results. And then if you do the same thing, you can get the results, right? That's where that comes from. But again, if you're looking for the information, let's say like marriage mastery, right? What we've put together, and I love what he said here, let's get it right is what's important. Well, how do we get it right? Well, you look at the recipe and you look at the results from that recipe. That's what matters. So a lot of times, when you're sifting and sorting through all this information, it's like, okay, marriage mastery, we have a recipe for that. We love helping people to be successful in relationships. If you want to be successful, follow the fruit and do the recipe, right? We have a recipe. It's very clear what we do and how we do it. and that will bring you the results. And sometimes I will be the first one to admit, why? Because I've been doing it a long time, that sometimes it literally feels like you're doing stuff that has nothing to do with relationship. You're like, does Carlos lost his rocker? Why are we doing this? How does this connect to relationship? How does this help me become a better husband, a better father, and a better, connector? It just doesn't make sense. And you're right. I often refer to Miyagi from Karate Kid. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. You need to go watch it. Okay, it's an old movie from the 80s, and it's Karate Kid. And literally, Miyagi, the wise Miyagi, he is like an Asian guy, of course. Asian guys are always wise, right? And he's a sensei, if you would, a master trainer at martial arts. And this Karate Kid, what's his name? You remember his name? I don't either. The Karate Kid, the kid, I don't remember his name, but he wants to be trained. He wants to learn martial arts because he's always getting picked on by bullies. So somebody told him about this Asian Miyagi guy. And so he goes to him. He's like, hey, I want to learn martial arts. I want to defend myself. And he's like, okay, great. Paint the fence. And so he paints this whole fence, and he's like, wax on, wax off, wax my cars. And he waxed all these cars that he had. Sand fence, all these things, different things, right? And at one point, Daniel, that's his name, Daniel, because like, Daniel-san. That's why I remember his name. His name's Daniel, the Karate Kid. He's like, Daniel finally just has it. He's like, every time I come here, every day I come here to learn martial arts, and all you have me do is all your chores. I'm tired of doing your chores. And Miyagi's like, Daniel-san, paint the fence. And then he swings at Daniel, and Daniel paints the fence and blocks it. It's silly, but it looks really good in the movie. Wax on, wax off. He blocks. So have you seen it before? You've never seen it. Yeah. So for real, I'll act it out for you guys to kind of get it. So like wax on is blocking, waxing off is blocking. So that's what he said. Very specific. Daniel, very specific. Wax on, wax on, wax on, wax on. So he's waxing all these cars and has to go the same direction. Daniel thinks it's because of the cars. Like if he waxes it the wrong direction. And then when you wax off, you do this. And over and over, paint the fence. Up, down, up, down. He wouldn't let him paint the fence across, or up, down. So then that was the things, right? When he goes to punch Daniel, he's like, paint the fence, Daniel. And Daniel and blocks it. And he's like, whoa, it works, right? So it's called muscle memory. For those of you that have been around that stuff, it's real. Yeah. So once you've done it so many times, your arm just like, oh. He's like, do other arm too, right? Left and right hand. And so he gets all this muscle memory from doing the repetitive action, and then it works. So my point is, same here. We're having you do all these repetitive actions as men, as leaders, as fathers, as husbands, as incredible entrepreneurs. And you're like, what the heck is this all for? I promise you, it matters. The repetition matters. So I'm going to be like, every song, I speak life, gratitude. Tell me gratitude. We'll be able to name tons of gratitude stuff, right? Okay. I know, it was funny. All right, so then it talked about the recipe, but then also raising our standard to surpass, right? Because again, sometimes we set a standard and then we're like, well, as long as I get there, go through the finish line. Go through the finish line. Like, don't settle for what I've done or what Jesse's done or Eric's done. Like, do more, do a little bit more. Because they say this in workouts, and it's true. Like, Arnold says this to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He won Mr. Universe. It's an actor, and he's also he won Mr. Universe, like fitness, Mr. Universe. And what he would say is he never started counting like sit-ups or push-ups till he couldn't do anymore. It's true. Like when there's muscle failure, that's when it starts to actually tear the muscles and build. So it's like, if you want to get stronger and better, don't start counting until you can't do anymore. And then how many can you do when you're done, right? Because that's really what it is. That's what will actually accelerate you. So it's the same in life. If you kind of use that as a theory and an understanding, you're going to get better. You're going to get better in everything you do. Well, I'm exhausted. Okay, then time to do 2 more phone calls if it's a business call, or I'm exhausted. Well, you need to close 2 more deals, or you need to finish 2 more projects or 1 more project before you quit because you're so exhausted. But that will extend your capacity, because your capacity is based on your current level of stamina. You can write that down. Your current capacity is based on your current stamina. So if you want to increase your stamina, you have to go a little bit more than your capacity. There you go. So that's part of surpassing what you currently do.
That's
All right.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
We can go home now. We go home now. What do we got?
Dang.
What's the next chapter? We got 5 minutes of reading.
All
We
right.
said we'd read for 30 minutes.
All
It
right.
hasn't been.
Next chapter.
You want to read the mantras there?
Yeah. Next chapter is humility is more important than visibility. And then the mantras for excellence in this chapter. Humility is more important than visibility. Concentrate on paying attention rather than on drawing attention. There's plenty of sunshine to go around. Make sure others get to stand in the brightest spot sometimes. Good leadership is the ideal blend of extreme personal humility and intense professional will. It's my fault, blame me. So chapter 7. When I was the president of OOBE, for no particular reason, except that I happened to be thinking about some of my conversations with employees that day, I grabbed a marker and wrote the following phrase on one of the flip charts in our conference room. Criticism provides an opportunity for improvement. I came back into the same room the next day and found that someone had added the word constructive before criticism. This alteration didn't hit me exactly right. It took me a little while to decipher why, but I came to the conclusion that the recipients of criticism are often far more concerned with the source, motive, or tone of the criticism than with the context. It dawned on me that we may unconsciously filter or dismiss what we hear based not upon the legitimacy and value of the information, but upon the source, motivation, and tone of the delivery. It would seem that our attitude in these instances may actually retard our pace of learning, as it roadblocks any knowledge that might be delivered in a manner that doesn't emotionally suit us. I don't know a lot, but I do know that in competitive business environments with individuals at all levels vying for significance, value, position, and money, not all criticism is offered with the purest of motives or the sweetest of tones. Some misguided criticism stems from jealousy, some from competitiveness, some from insecurity, and some just from plain old meanness. And yes, some criticism does originate from individuals who truly are trying to help us achieve our full potential as employees and as human beings. But the ratio of the pair 2 principle, 80% of outcomes stem from 20% of causes, probably applies to this phenomena as it does in many other situations. I have no data to justify this position, but I wouldn't be surprised if 80% of all criticism is delivered with a less than ideal approach and with an intent to hurt more than to help. I would submit that someone who maintains an attitude of receptivity when receiving criticism from another individual, regardless of how it is delivered, will learn and grow faster than the one who goes deaf when the approach used by the messenger is impolite, rude, vindictive, or inappropriate. Many years ago, I learned to turn off all filters when criticism comes my way. I try to take it all in and to offer no reaction to the messenger, except to thank them for sharing what they observe, what they think, and how they feel. Then, when I am alone, I review all the points made and try to objectively evaluate the validity of what was shared. If I am fortunate, I find truth in the message that helps me recognize shortcomings of which I may have been unaware or simply didn't want to admit. Those discoveries provide an immediate opportunity to learn and grow. They also provide a chance to circle back to the person who delivered the criticism and to thank them for helping me see where I could improve. It really doesn't matter if 80% of what they told me was rubbish and completely untrue. I tried to concentrate on the 20% that can be leveraged to increase my knowledge, productivity, and impact. Experience has taught me that there's nearly always something instructive and prescriptive in well-intentioned criticism. In, dare I say it, constructive criticism.
There you go. Let's pause there because we're out of time. And I want to this is a good spot. We're gonna get back into this criticism thing. Now, some of you, if you've been with me long enough, have heard that there's no such thing as constructive criticism, that criticism is not beneficial ever. And I would still say that if you have a certain level of leadership. And that's right, it usually fits the level of leadership. And then you get to a level of leadership where you begin to ask for it because you want it. I'll never forget, I had done this. Kane, I don't know if Kane's on here. He's sometimes been jumping on. Kane and Layla used to work with us. And I shared this with you men before, how I actually told the team, I put a jar out there and I said, I need you to tell me a way that I can improve. I was asking for criticism, essentially, ways that I can improve as a leader, because I know I create the bottleneck most of the time for our business. This was years ago. And I said, you have to write something and put it in that jar or you're fired. And Kane was a part of that group when I said that. I'm like, look, there's got to be something, you guys. I know you love me or whatever, or you're scared of me, one or the other. But it's, you know, one or the other. You love me so much that you think I'm perfect, or you're scared of me so much you're afraid to put it in the jar. One or the other. Or you're really nice. So, but part of it was this, that I used to talk about this, how criticism is not good, not beneficial. And I will say that because of some people can't handle the truth. If you've ever seen that movie, you can't handle the truth. That's a whole other story, but it's real. It's a good phrase from a movie. This guy's on, you know, it's a court hearing. He's sitting up there being, you know, he's witness and there finally he says, you can't handle the truth, talking about how the federal government works. It's all another story. But the point was, it's like people can't. Some people can't handle the truth. This is truth. As a leader, sometimes you have to understand that criticism and telling them things that they did wrong is not beneficial. Now, if you can raise them up as leaders where they actually ask for it, that's different. Because see, what happens is then I would actually say, is it truly criticism then? Or is it growth? Because think about that, like criticism does have a negative connotation to it. It's negative, it's like, But if I can say, hey, I want your feedback. I want to learn and grow from this situation. How can you help me? What do you got for me? Because I know this well, and I do it the best to my ability every month, actually, with my wife. Man, I'm going to clue you in on something. If you will grab a hold of the fact that when women are having their period or having their premenstrual syndrome, PMS, before their period, when they're very sensitive and emotional, it's actually a beneficial time if you want to look at it that way. If you're not married, you need to learn this stuff. That's why you're here. Marriage mastery and leadership. And how you lead well is actually to lean in and go towards your wife when she's most sensitive, because she's going to give you some incredible wisdom during that time that she probably wasn't sensitive enough during the rest of the time to be aware of it, or maybe she didn't have the confidence to tell you during other times because she didn't want to criticize you, right? Because she loves you and doesn't want to make you feel bad or make you feel like lesser of a man. However, if you're at a level of leadership and you're ready to handle it, it has less sting to it when you ask for it. Now, I literally will ask my wife this. What you got, babe? I feel like, I know I feel it. What you got? And I'll be like, tell me. I know there's something coming, so I want to hear it. And it does. I actually sometimes have to pull it out of her, even during that time. But we call it spidey senses, all right? Like sixth sense that they have during this time. If you truly see it that way, it can be a blessing to you. So when they're emotional and they're maybe crying a little bit more than normal and they're expressing their emotions more than normal, don't put them down. Don't run away from them. Go towards them. Lean in and be like, all right, how can I improve? Give me some feedback. What can I do? Because during that time, I promise you, they have an extra dose of wisdom. Now, the rest of the world's going to tell you that they're just straight up beep. I won't say it, but like the world will tell you, oh my God, women are like, dee, dee, dee. During that time, they can be really horrible. Depends on how you look at it. What lens do you want to look through? And I tell you this because I think that's where a lot of our fears come in, is criticism from those that are closest to us. But if you lean in and you ask for it, is it really criticism anymore? Or is it now feedback and I get to flourish and grow through the situation? So just want to share this with you, men, because I think that's very good. And humility, will ask for criticism. I mean, we can kind of define it that way, and then know that they're also going to be blessed too. Because if you have a high enough leadership where you can ask for it, that's what their voice matters. And then as you learn this skill, your teenagers will appreciate it too, because they're learning, like you taught them their whole life, respect your adults. I'm your mom, I'm your dad. Don't you talk to me that way, right? And it's true when they're younger, but there's a transition that happens as they become adolescents and they're becoming adults. You want them to speak their truth, and you want them to be able to speak something even that may be critical towards you, because their voice matters. That's more important than your freaking ego, I promise. Your child being able to speak their truth as they get older is vital, so they don't explode or implode because they got it all built up. And I don't want to speak death over my dad. Imagine being raised by me. That's been a challenge. I've had to pull it out of my daughter because she's stressed and frustrated. I'm like, tell me, what are you feeling? It's good. Do it. And so she will. So now, but at first she's like, oh, just stressed. I love you. I don't want to say it. I'm like, no, it's important. What are you feeling? I don't need to take it personal, but tell me. Because again, as you learn, people's truths matters. And so their voice matters when they're able to speak it. And some of you on this call can probably relate that your voice never mattered, right? Nothing you said mattered. They didn't let you talk. They didn't let you speak. You didn't feel like you had a voice. It's real. And it's not just with the Anabaptist. It's also with the English. So it's real. We all go through it, and we all need to be better at our level of leadership and allowing others to speak their truth, and then pulling it out of them when they don't want to because they're trying to be nice, or they're previously Amish or previously Mennonite and they were taught never to say anything negative. It's real and it happens. So, all right. Sound good? You got any thoughts? You got any thoughts?
No,
got fired up today.
It's awesome. Good stuff. The other thing that I thought about was that he's speaking from the behalf of, as an employer and employee, not to wait for the employer to come ask, or to wait for some leader to lead the way when it comes to criticism and stuff, but recognizing that the business world can be a jungle. And it's I myself am responsible to rise above what everybody else is doing by not waiting for them to talk nicely, or not waiting for them to expect them to ask, or wait for me to ask or anything like that. It's just like in the jungle, the snakes are biting, and the wild animals are abundant, and so it's
gonna happen.
Yeah, and so
I'm saying when you put yourself out there, it's gonna happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Whether we ask for it or not.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that impressed me there. It's like, I'm not waiting for somebody else. I'm taking personal responsibility to do that. And
it's good. As
an employee, that can it's like a different point of view. It's like a different mentality. Like it would have if I'd have known this, when I was an employee, then it would have benefited me.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's good. Super good. All right. Good stuff. Can you handle the truth? The more you can handle the truth, the better your team will do. I promise. If you're raising up, whether it's your family, whether it's employees, whether it's business associates, people you're working with and training and helping, whatever it may be, that somebody that maybe is a follower of yours in some sort or another, some way or another, learning from you. Or if you have a leader that you look up to, are you willing to take the criticism from him, even if it's not done the right way? I think that's what you're saying. You can grab the nugget and the fruit from it. And yeah, sometimes the negative, awful crap you can throw out, but because sometimes it is harsh. Believe me, I've had people in my face cussing me out. It's not fun sometimes, especially leaders that do that. I've worked with some people that they think that's the way you're supposed to be a leader. And believe me, you want to punch them in the face.
How many have you punched in the face?
Nah, I held it in, but that one guy got in my face big time. It was a multi-million-dollar contract though. So I was just like, oh, let's get this over with so we don't have to work for this guy anymore. So anyways, good stuff. Thanks, bro. All right, we're gonna stop the recording now. So